Hey guys, it's Bob Ferngren. I'm back with another 8-minute call. These calls are designed just to give you a short burst of some knowledge or wisdom or action that you can take to improve any part of your life you're looking to improve. And listen, everybody ought to be working on improvement. Everybody is not there yet. Everybody should be working to get better at whatever better means to you. But let's talk finances for a minute. One of the reasons most people have little to no value economically is because of their relationship with money. They have a very poor relationship with money. They think negative thoughts about money. They think negative thoughts about people who have money. Like, someone, I think it was Bernie Sanders, said there shouldn't be any billionaires in the United States. I think he used to say millionaires, but he's a millionaire now. But that's just a pervasive thought. They actually are appealing to the masses, to the average people who have negative thoughts about money. Now, some people will come back with a religious connotation and say something like, well, isn't money the root of all evil? Well, actually, the love of money is the root of all evil. You can have money, just don't be in love with it. And of course, it's all what you do with money that's going to make it a positive or negative for you. But isn't that kind of true in all aspects of life? So how do you get over it? How do you get over having parents that taught you negative things about money? Oh, those people, they're just greedy. Those people, they are only in it for themselves. Look, most people are selfish. That's not the point here. The point is really about you. It's about me. I had to get over so many negative thoughts about money. And now some of it was my circumstances. I was always able to attract a lot more money. Matter of fact, at 18 years old, as a bartender in Fort Lauderdale, I was probably making 4 or 5 times what my father was in a job that he'd been doing for probably 30 years at that point. I'm not bragging. I just started having a really good feeling about money. I had better feelings about money, because I was pretty young and I was starting to make a lot of money and I started feeling good. I didn't make good decisions with it. I was young, naive, stupid, uneducated. So I did all the crazy things you do when you have a lot of money. But I had this thing in my mind that why is money bad? I want to own a house. I want to drive nice cars. I want to, as I grew and matured and solidified my relationship with Jesus Christ, I want to give away a lot of money. I want to be generous. I want to take care of my family. I don't want my family in lack. I started having all these, especially as I matured, not at 18, not at 19, not at 21, but I started having better and better feelings. Okay, so as I further matured, then I realized it wasn't just having good feelings about it. I needed to have knowledge about it. I literally bought my very first house which I, co-opted with my mother at the time in Boca Raton, Florida. We 50-50'd on a brand new house in Boca. And so now I buy a house and then we end up selling it a couple years. So I'm like making money. Matter of fact, I've only not made money on one house that I sold in the many homes that I've owned. Not bragging. Once I bought a house, I started understanding real estate and did the research to do that. Today, I have already watched a podcast on real estate. Guys, I'm 7 decades on the planet and I'm still learning. Financial education. The current Secretary of Treasury, Bassett, said everything would change in this country if we were giving folks financial education, if people were taking financial education. What does that mean? It means things like understanding a budget and living within a budget. It's like spending less than you earn. Credit cards ruin that for people. And so then they get addicted to credit cards. It's about good debt versus bad debt. It's about interest and compounded interest. It's about understanding the markets, not in depth. You don't have to be a Wall Street expert, but you need to have some basic understanding if that's where you want to do investing. It's about earning, saving, and then taking that savings into investment. It's about assets and liabilities. I mean, there's these things that you can You don't have to be an expert. Matter of fact, in the last 5 years, to further my education, I got my life insurance and annuities license and actually practiced and still can and do practice. And I studied everything on my real estate to get my real estate license, but then I said, I don't want to sell real estate, but I wanted to know everything about it. Now, why am I doing that at this stage of my life? Because I want to keep learning. So what does learning do? It attracts, right? Now you're going to have to take action. I'm going to talk more about action in other videos, but gosh, guys, change everything. Change your family direction by first changing how you think about money. And you might think this is sexist, but I don't. I'm kind of a romantic guy. I've always, since my light went on, I've always thought of money as like this. Do you want to attract more money? It's how you think about it. It's how you talk about it. It's how you get around people that are like that. And it's just like a woman you're trying to attract. You know, you wouldn't be saying, yeah, but your family comes from this. Yeah, your hair's blonde, but you dyed it. Yeah, but. No, you would do all the things you could do to attract that person into your life, right? Money wants to go where it's liked and appreciated. Don't women want to go where they're liked and appreciated too? So you can call me sex. I don't care what anybody calls me. I'm just telling you that's how I'd look at it. So I do the things it takes to attract money. Now, the number one thing I do, and you should underline this one, is I'm grateful for what I have. If I miss one day a year in not getting down on my knees and thanking God for what I have, you see, I don't believe you're ever going to get more unless you're grateful for what you have. And I've already talked about that in a previous video. So when you start tying these concepts together, when you know exactly what you want, you know exactly why you want it, what happens is you begin to manifest these things. Now, you're going to have to take that step into action. You know, relationship-wise, if that person comes along and you don't open up your mouth, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If that opportunity comes along, and this is where a lot of people are just closed-minded. Somebody presents an opportunity, they give you the yeah, but, or I can't afford it, or I don't know anything about that. You're in terms of opportunities coming to you, you're not going to get more. So my whole point of this is, listen, don't be afraid of money. Matter of fact, start thinking good thoughts about it and what you're going to do with it and what your life's going to be like. And it isn't the money, it's what the money can do. Hey, God bless. Have a great day.